So it turns out that Logan Paul has decided to switch out of his Luffy from One Piece cosplay and switch over to cosplaying that one Japanese soldier who was fighting in the jungle 29 years after the war had ended. Because just like I predicted in my last video on the low gangster himself, he is back on his content farm ready to milk the One Piece fandom cow, with a post calling out NBA player Shaq, who was seen wearing a One Piece shirt, calling him a LARPer, which is like that one video where the homeless man calls the other homeless dude broke. He goes on in the tweet to make jokes about how you have to watch every single episode and digest every bit of the series just to be called a real-life fan, trying to dig into the guts of the One Piece fan base, making fun of them for just calling out anyone that wants to enjoy the anime. Just in case he didn't get the joke across good enough, he responds to his own tweet, pretty much sneak dissing Shaq, saying that he's wearing a 4XL shirt that a One Piece fan could have bought, with him saying, quote, "You're ruining the hobby." Now, like I said before, I'm pretty sure that Logan's just tweeting this stuff out at this point just because the two tweets before this are getting less than 300 likes and barely any views. And he's seeing that and he's trying to just make sure he stays in the news cycle for another day, just like anyone would of his caliber on social media. Now, like I just said, I won't speak on this too much because he's obviously just trying to get a couple more clicks from the One Piece fan base because he's now in full Reddit rage bait mode. But I do want to point out something similar that was going on today too, which is QT Cinderella tweeting out that she was going to start watching One Piece now. Almost everyone in the comments when the tweet first dropped is just making jokes referencing the Logan Paul incident, with streamer Valkyrie even parodying Speed's response to Logan in her own comment, saying the same, "You don't know shit about One Piece." Now, I don't know if QT Cinderella was posting this to directly reference and make fun of Logan Paul's tweet talking about buying the One Piece chapters, or if Ludwig somehow convinced her to watch it after 7 years. But I do know that Mr. Beast is somehow back in this discussion because he responded with his own remark stating that she shouldn't even talk about it on here because One Piece fans will just come attack you just for bringing it up these days. Again, I'm going to want to tread lightly here if I want to be in the next Mr. Beast hits reality TV show Beast Games on Amazon, but I would like to point out the differences as we talked about in the last video, which is basically the fact that Mr. Beast did bring it up, never talked about it, and then randomly switched his profile picture to Luffy before getting bullied to switch it back a couple of days later. So yeah, obviously that situation is a lot different than somebody who's just saying, like, I'm going to watch it, versus somebody who's acting like they already know where the One Piece is located 2 days after, saying that they were going to maybe watch a couple episodes. Now, I want to take a second to step back and take the One Piece fandom's dick out of my mouth and stop stacking donuts on them like it's a fucking $3.99 Quick Trip glazed donut deal. But I do want to admit that the One Piece fandom these days will get fucking crazy over anyone who just sits there and says they're going to watch the anime with a following on social media, always accusing them of being LARPers. But I will say that you have to do something really stupid for them to dig their disgusting, filthy, reeking paws into you. I also think that at this point, it just comes down to, the difference in person. Like, obviously, someone like Cutesy Cinderella is definitely a lot more liked than somebody like Logan Paul, especially in that area of anime where, as you remember, Logan Paul was out in Japan throwing fucking Pokeballs at people in the street, and I obviously can't talk about his other shenanigans that he got up to while he was in that country because I'm not trying to get fucking whacked. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to make a quick update video because I thought it was funny that Logan Paul did exactly what I said he was going to do, which was milk this thing for as long as he possibly could. I didn't expect Mr. Beast to come back into the fold, but I guess, hey, what do you expect these days?